Welcome to the debate. Picture a pitch where one team's starting 11 costs, $1 billion, and the other team's costs maybe a tenth of that.
Yeah, it's a completely mismatched scale.
Exactly. And for over a century, we basically knew who won that match before the referee even blew the whistle, right? The traditional logic just always pointed to the giant club and said, well, there is the winner.
Right. It was just a simple, fairly brutal financial equation.
It was. But today, if you step off that pitch and into the analyst's room of a medium-sized club, you will find an algorithm silently breaking football's golden rule.
It really is a fascinating shift, isn't it? I mean, you're looking at a tactical landscape that is suddenly being dictated not just by the size of the club's bank account, but by the sheer sophistication of their data models.
Yeah, precisely. And that is exactly where we are grounding today's discourse. We are looking at insights that recently emerged from the Sport Radar Connect gathering at London Stadium.
Yeah, that was a great panel.
It really was. It featured some incredibly deep perspectives from Nicolo Darkele, who is the Executive Vice President for Technology and AI at Sport Radar, alongside World Cup winner Eric Germ and pundit Jamie Carragher. And the sentiment was clear.
Overwhelmingly so. Yeah.
Right. While AI splits opinion in broader society, the football industry, and specifically the coaches and performance analysts in the dugout, they are overwhelmingly positive about it.
But I think that brings us to the core of what we are debating today, because we are looking at this strictly from the perspective of those analysts and coaches. And the central question is really this: can small and medium-sized clubs genuinely overcome football's financial giants by using AI tools to, permanently level the playing field?
Or does the unpredictable, deeply human essence of the game mean that elite talent will just always reign supreme?
Exactly.
And I take the position that AI is the ultimate equalizer here. By centralizing intelligence and proactive strategy, it essentially allows smaller clubs to systematically outsmart the giants. It gives them the structural foundation to punch above their weight on a permanent basis.
And I take the opposing view. While I agree AI is an incredible, transformative analytical tool for coaches, the fundamental unpredictability of human beings under extreme pressure dictates a totally different reality on the pitch.
You don't think the tech bridges that gap?
No, I really don't. AI will only ever enhance, not overcome, the elite human capital that the giant clubs monopolize. Ultimately, the talent on the grass will always dictate the ceiling of the algorithm.
Well, to truly grasp what is happening in the dugout right now, I think we have to recognize a massive paradigm shift. For decades, the only question a manager asked was, how good are my players?
Right, the classic eye test.
Yeah, exactly. But today, the performance analysts are forcing managers to ask, how good is our technology? Nicolo Darkele made this brilliant point at Sport Radar Connect regarding the sheer cost-effectiveness of artificial intelligence for smaller clubs.
He was talking about foundational models, right?
Yes, exactly. They are investing in what we call a foundational model. And think of a foundational model as a master brain that has just digested decades of global football data, managing everything from scouting a teenager in South America to, managing the physical workload of a veteran striker.
Look, I approach this with a great deal of intellectual humility because the advancements we are discussing really are staggering. I fully acknowledge that the data has moved light years beyond what Darko calls the bread and butter metrics.
Oh yeah, we're way past just counting completed passes or possession time.
Exactly. Or shots on target. The tech is an absolute marvel for performance analysts.
It is beyond a marvel, honestly. It is a completely new lens on the sport. Take skeletal tracking, for example. We aren't just plotting a dot on a 2D map anymore, right?
No, the granularity is insane.
It is. These tools capture up to 60 frames per second, allowing an analyst at a mid-sized club to generate a genuinely human-like understanding of the game. They are mapping out the precise biomechanical efficiency of a player's movement.
Which is great in the film room, sure.
But it translates. They can look at the data and say, at frame 14,
universes are born and die at the snap of his fingers of shadow. The multiverse is nothing but dust, molded by his sovereign will. Beneath his titanic silhouette, subverses collapse, and entire realities bow to the true and absolute ruler of the cosmos. For the creature that holds the infinite in the palm of its hand, eternity itself is merely a fleeting breath. Colossal dimensions are mere toys in the immensity of his domain. He does not merely observe existence, he possesses it completely. Available now on Amazon Books.
Translates. They can look at the data and say, at frame 14, the opposing defender's hips are squared in correctly, meaning he physically cannot turn fast enough if our winger cuts inside. It turns human anatomy into a mathematically exploitable weakness. And this is completely independent of market value. Because of this high return on a relatively low financial investment, these mid-sized clubs are positioned to be the primary drivers of widespread AI adoption. They are effectively replacing the need for an unlimited budget with a superior analytical engine.
I hear all of that, and the biomechanical tracking is undeniably brilliant. I'm not disputing the tech, but I anchor my perspective in the very words spoken by Eric Durm and Jamie Carragher at that same gathering. Football is not played on a spreadsheet.
Well, obviously not.
And it is not played in a server room. Humans will always be the stars of the show.
But the AI is optimizing those humans. It's giving them the exact blueprint to beat the superior athlete.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why. Giving a blueprint and executing a blueprint are two entirely different things.
How so?
AI tracks off-ball movements, or how brilliantly it calculates the turning radius of a defender's hips. The algorithm cannot step onto the grass and kick the ball. The sport fundamentally relies on human execution.
Of course it does, but...
And human beings are inherently unpredictable, especially when you introduce the intense, suffocating pressure of a vital match.
So you are saying the physical execution always trumps the tactical setup?
I am saying the reason giant clubs spend astronomical fees on elite players is not just for their physical attributes. It is for their psychological resilience. It is their ability to execute complex, demanding tasks when the stakes are at their absolute highest.
Okay, but a perfect system...
An algorithm can tell a 20-year-old midfielder to make a highly specific, mathematically optimal run. But it takes an elite human mind and body to actually execute that run perfectly. When 70,000 fans are screaming at you, your lungs are burning in the 88th minute, and a world-class defender is breathing down your neck. The Giants, by virtue of their capital, will always hold a monopoly on the players most capable of executing the algorithm's vision.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective. Let's talk about how deep this data actually goes and why it bypasses the traditional reliance on that elite, obvious talent you're talking about.
I'm listening.
Durkole outlined how an analyst practically utilizes this AI, and it completely flips the script. Before AI, an analyst would have to manually comb through days of footage to find specific tactical behaviors. It was exhausting, right?
Yeah, and prone to human error. Absolutely.
Exactly. But now, it is entirely straightforward to type a query into the system and instantly watch 20 isolated clips of a specific player sprinting into an attacking position off the ball, purely to see what the spatial outcomes were.
Right. But watching those clips on a Monday morning in the film room is a completely different universe than acting on them during a match.
Right, but that's where the AI bridges the gap. We are talking about the less obvious, but absolutely vital tactical impacts that dictate the flow of a match. Giant clubs buy the players whose impact is obvious to the naked eye. You know, the goal scorers, the dazzling dribblers.
The match winners, yeah.
But AI allows a smaller club's coaching staff to identify and optimize the hidden spaces on the pitch. Take the concept of a half space, that dangerous channel between the center of the pitch and the wing. By having a machine map out these off-ball movements at 60 frames per second, an analyst constructs an attacking framework that relies on systemic coordination.
Systemic coordination.
Yes, the AI provides context to the data, effectively engineering a collective advantage that neutralizes the individual superiority of the opposition. You do not need a $100 million superstar if your AI can perfectly synchronize the movements of 11 $10 million players.
Okay, but you're assuming flawless execution again.
If the algorithm tells them exactly when and where to move to exploit the exact structural and biomechanical weaknesses of the opponent, the individual talent deficit is erased by mathematical precision.
I have to stop you there because I am just not buying it. You are making a truly brilliant argument for the elegance of the analysis. It sounds beautiful in theory.
It works in practice, too.
But there is a massive chasm between identifying a hidden structural weakness and actually exploiting it on the pitch.
But if the players know exactly where the weakness is, why can't they exploit it?
Because the opponent is a living, breathing, elite athlete. Yes, instantly pulling up 20 isolated clips of off-ball sprinting into a half space is a game changer for educating players in training. I concede that, but let us look at the real-world mechanism of execution.
Go ahead.
The AI identifies that a specific run creates a 15% higher probability of a goal. The coach instructs his $10 million player to make that run. But on the pitch, the opposing defender, who happens to be that $100 million superstar, instinctively reads the play, adjusts his body shape in a fraction of a second, and physically blocks the run.
Even if his biomechanics are caught off guard, based on the data?
Yes, because elite players have elite recovery speed and elite instincts. Your systemic coordination completely falls apart if the human components cannot physically or technically overcome their direct opponents in a one-on-one duel.
But the system avoids the duel in the first place.
You say you do not need the superstar if the system is perfect. But the Giants are purchasing the very players whose off-ball intelligence and physical supremacy require no algorithm to be effective. They buy players with an innate, split-second problem-solving ability that an algorithm can only retroactively measure.
I think you're underestimating the real-time application here.
You cannot proactively instill a world-class footballing IQ into an average player during the heat of the moment, no matter how good your pre-match data was.
Okay, let us push back on that barrier between analysis and execution, because modern AI is actively bridging it in real time. Let's use an analogy. Think of this like a chess grandmaster playing against a highly sophisticated chess engine.
A classic comparison.
Right. The grandmaster relies on human intuition, experience, and split-second problem solving, much like your elite football player.
Exactly.
But the engine does not feel pressure. It does not get tired. It does not get intimidated by the crowd. And it calculates the optimal structural move every single time.
It's an interesting premise.
If a smaller club's coaching staff operates as the conduit for a systemic AI engine that dictates spatial occupation on the pitch, doesn't that systemic superiority eventually grind down the giant club relying merely on individual human intuition?
Well, it assumes the players are just chess pieces, which they aren't.
And the source material explicitly supports this evolution. We are not just talking about pre-match or post-match analysis anymore. We are talking about AI operating as an additional assistant manager sitting right there on the bench. Dercole points out that these foundational models are being put in place to understand the game in such depth that they calculate the probability of what will happen next.
Calculating probability is not predicting the future, though.
It is close enough to give you a massive edge. An analyst can look at their tablet on the bench and tell the manager exactly how many times out of 100 a specific player will score from a 25-yard free kick, factoring in the player's current fatigue levels and the opposition goalkeeper's historical weaknesses.
Which is incredible data, sure.
Right, so the AI suggests proactive, intelligent solutions, tactical switches, perfectly timed substitutions based purely on predictive data. It removes the emotional bias, the panic, and the human error from the managerial decision-making process. Over a 90-minute match, and certainly over a grueling 38-game season, a smaller club making mathematically optimal decisions from the dugout will inevitably overcome a giant club relying on a manager's human instinct, however elite that instinct might be.
That's a compelling argument, but have you considered that a football match is not a controlled environment? It is not a laboratory where a free kick is taken 100 times in a vacuum.
No, but the data aggregates the reality of those situations over time.
But the chess analogy breaks down precisely because the pieces on a chessboard do not have their own heart rates. They don't have their own anxieties or their own unpredictable reactions to the state of the game. A chess piece moves exactly where the engine tells it to. A footballer does not.
Will they follow instructions?
And Dercole himself concedes this vital limitation. He explicitly notes that one of the reasons the football industry is so accepting of AI is that everyone knows it will never replace the humans playing the game.
Oh, I'm not saying it replaces them, I'm saying it perfectly guides them.
But the guidance is at the mercy of human frailty. Ultimately, it is up to the head coach to trust the machine. And crucially, it is up to the players to perform those tasks on the pitch. Dercole emphasizes that players react differently to pressure. This is the beauty of the sport.
I agree it's a beauty, but it can be managed.
Imagine you were the manager. Your AI assistant manager pings your tablet and suggests that making a specific substitution at the 70th minute yields a 68% probability of securing a draw against the giant club.
68% chance is a massive advantage for a small club holding on to a point. You make that sub every single time.
You make the sub, but then that substitute steps onto the pitch, misplaces his first pass because his legs are heavy with nerves, and suddenly the away crowd turns incredibly hostile. In that single chaotic moment, your pristine probability model instantly shatters.
It adjusts, it doesn't shatter.
Football is inherently irrational. Giant clubs are structurally built to survive that chaos. They possess the individuals who thrive when the tactical framework collapses and the game becomes a street fight. The algorithm demands a rational environment to realize its probabilities, but a muddy pitch in December with everything on the line is the definition of irrational.
I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning because it treats the irrationality of football as some mystical force that cannot be quantified. In fact, modeling chaos is exactly what modern machine learning is designed to do. And we don't even have to guess if this works. We're already watching it happen on the pitch.
You're referring to the current wave of overperforming mid-table clubs?
Exactly. The empirical evidence was referenced directly at Sport Radar Connect. Dirk Holding noted that we have already seen several smaller clubs with vastly inferior budgets across Europe perform far better than expected. And what is the common denominator in the dugouts of these overachievers?
Data.
Yes, their smart, aggressive use of technology, data, and AI. They are the incubators of this revolution because they have to be.
Necessity driving innovation, for sure.
Precisely. A giant club can afford to make a $50 million mistake in the transfer market. They can rely on a star manager's flawed gut instinct because their financial safety net catches them. A smaller club cannot.
That's very true.
One bad transfer window or a string of emotionally driven tactical errors can lead to relegation and financial ruin. Therefore, they lean entirely into the predictive data. They use AI to manage player workloads, analyzing sleep patterns and muscle fatigue to prevent injuries before they ever happen.
Which is a huge structural advantage.
Huge. They use AI to scout undervalued talent in second divisions globally. They use AI to dictate their tactical shape to the millimeter. And because AI adoption is so profoundly cost-effective compared to buying a superstar, it acts as a permanent lever to flatten the financial hierarchy. We are entering an era where widespread AI adoption creates a floor of analytical perfection that the giants simply cannot overpower with money alone.
I come at it from a completely different way.
How so?
Well, I entirely agree with you that smaller clubs are the incubators. They are the laboratories of world football right now. They are testing these brilliant proactive strategies and AI assistant managers, and they are indeed performing better than expected.
So you agree it's working?
But we have to look at the ceiling of this phenomenon. The advantage you are describing relies entirely on an asymmetry of technology.
Meaning the smaller club has the smart algorithm while the giant club is stuck in the dark ages, relying purely on their wallets?
Yes, but that asymmetry is temporary. It is a fleeting moment in the sport's history. Consider what Jamie Carragher is doing, as mentioned in the source material.
On the broadcast side.
Exactly. He is using these deeply advanced AI-driven insights to scale data-driven storytelling to millions of viewers in sports media. He openly wished he had this technology as a player, and now he is broadcasting it effortlessly to the world. If a media broadcast can scale this technology so seamlessly, what do you think the financial giants of European football are going to do?
You think they will just buy up the structural advantage?
Inevitably. Once the elite clubs recognize the efficacy of these predictive models, once they get tired of seeing mid-sized clubs punching above their weight, they will simply co-opt the technology. They will merge their unlimited budgets with the most sophisticated AI systems available.
That is a scary thought for the smaller clubs.
Think about the nightmare scenario for a small club. What happens when a giant club possesses both the mathematically optimal AI assistant manager and the $100 million superstar who can execute the algorithm's vision flawlessly under immense pressure?
The playing field unlevels once again.
Exactly. The smaller clubs, as brilliant as they are right now, are essentially just doing the unpaid research and development for the giants. The mega clubs will let the smaller teams test the AI, figure out what works, and then they will implement it on a scale that a mid-sized club can never dream of.
It is a fascinating dynamic to consider, especially how the scaling of this technology impacts the future landscape of the sport. But regardless of who ultimately benefits most in the long run, it is clear from our discussion that we are finding significant convergence on the sheer magnitude of this shift in the dugout.
Oh, without a doubt. We both agree that AI is fundamentally revolutionizing the coaching and analytical frameworks of the sport. The integration of 60 frames per second skeletal tracking, the ability to instantly parse out hidden off-ball tactical behaviors in a half space.
And the foundational models that serve as proactive assistant managers.
Exactly. These aren't just gimmicks.
No, not at all. They represent a massive, undeniable leap forward in how we extract value from player data. It goes so far beyond the old metrics. The modern analyst room, and by extension the dugout, will never be the same.
Absolutely. The days of relying solely on bread and butter metrics to evaluate a match are entirely over. The capacity of AI to add deep context to data, to map out biomechanics, and to calculate the probabilities of complex match scenarios, it is fundamentally transforming how analysts understand the game. We are entirely aligned that this technology is an incredible tool that allows for a much deeper, almost human-like understanding of tactical structures.
Yet our core disagreement remains firmly in place regarding the ultimate impact on the sport's competitive balance. I maintain that because AI centralizes so many crucial tasks from scouting to in-game probability modeling and is so remarkably cost-effective, it hands smaller and medium-sized clubs a permanent scalable weapon.
And I still disagree.
Right, but it allows them to structurally outthink the financial giants, replacing the need for exorbitant transfer fees with superior, machine-learned, tactical perfection.
And I hold firm to the belief that the chaotic, irrational reality of the pitch will always dictate the terms of victory. Because human beings have heartbeats, because they react unpredictably to pressure, and because the sport demands physical execution in high-stakes environments, the raw talent and psychological resilience concentrated at the giant clubs will always be the ultimate deciding factor.
The human element.
Exactly. AI will enhance the game tremendously, but the elite players, the ones who can thrive when the system breaks down, will remain the true stars of the show.
It is a remarkable paradox we are left to ponder. Here we have a tool based purely on cold logic, biomechanical tracking, and mathematical probability, being overwhelmingly embraced by an industry defined by deep emotion, chaotic passion, and human unpredictability. There is so much more to explore in how these foundational models will evolve and integrate into the sport over the coming seasons.
It truly is the ultimate collision of art and science.
So, we leave you to look at that manager, standing on the touchline, staring out at the pitch, consulting his tablet, and draw your own conclusion. Does the future of the dugout truly belong to the wealthiest owners or to the smartest algorithms? Thank you for joining us.